Homeschooling isn't just about school, it's about your family. Are you building your family life or just doing school at home? Most parents jump straight into academics and piling on enrichment classes without ever asking what kind of childhood and family life they actually want for their kids. Before you add one more thing, here's what to do instead. Most mornings we have a pretty simple breakfast. It's usually toast around here, but occasionally we'll mix it up with pancakes or eggs. This morning it was pancakes, and this is always fun for Ben, who likes to be my helper in flipping them. It's also been getting so warm and beautiful outside. This morning it was warm enough to have breakfast out on the deck. So we took everything out there and enjoyed the beautiful morning. The birds singing, everything turning green. It was very inspiring. If you're new here on the channel, hi, my name is Sherry. I'm a Christian homeschooling mom married to my high school sweetheart, Nelson. We've been married for 25 years. Together, we have 10 children, ages 21 down to 3, and we've been homeschooling from the very beginning. I was a public school teacher who never thought someday I'd be a homeschool mom. I love encouraging other families here on my channel and on the blog, ourlifehomeschooling.com. You can also find me in Made to Homeschool, which is a supportive community for homeschool families. As you begin your week with your children, I have a few questions to ask you. If you think back to the beginning when you started out homeschooling your kids, what was it that made you choose this option? Why did you start homeschooling in the first place? What did you picture your days looking like? How did you hope your kids would feel growing up in your home? And maybe even more honestly, does your life right now actually reflect those dreams? Or have you slowly drifted into something that feels a lot like school at home? Homeschooling isn't just about school, it's about your family. It's about the kind of life you want to wake up to every day, the kind of legacy you're passing down to your children. This is something I talk about extensively in my new course, Beyond School, the Home Education Breakthrough. This is a course for new and current homeschoolers. In it, I help ordinary parents give their kids a better education at home. It's a mom mentorship where I take you step by step through all that I've learned in our 16 years of homeschooling and show you our family first framework, how we give our kids an excellent education that brings our family together, not the other way around. The course launches this coming Tuesday from April 7th to April 11th. You can purchase the course at the significantly discounted launch price. If I could invite you to my home and talk with you over coffee, this is everything I would share with you one-on-one. If you're longing for this kind of approach in your home, a family-first framework, enrollment for Beyond School, the Home Education Breakthrough, opens on Tuesday. The link is below if you'd like to get on the wait list. We're studying the artist Mary Cassatt this semester, and the kids are writing down each of the paintings we're studying in their Simple Morning Time notebook. The painting we did this week was the child's bath, and the thing everyone really loved about this is that it's so colorful. There were floral patterns and also geometrical patterns, which made it really pretty. Since it's the week leading up to Easter, we've been memorizing Isaiah 53. This is something we actually do every year, so it's more of a review since we've been doing it for so long. And then we also sing some Easter hymns as part of our hymn study in the evenings.
Young plant, like a root out of dry ground. He had no form or majesty that we should look at him, and no beauty that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. For our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, and with his stripes we are healed.
Back to creating the kind of family life that you want for your kids. So many of us as parents overthink homeschooling, and from the outside, it can look very good. We have a full curriculum, busy days, lots of good activities, but underneath, the experience might feel completely different. The golden calf. I remember back to our early years of homeschooling. Initially, I was so excited about the freedoms we had with our kids. My husband worked random shift work, so we were able to adjust our schoolwork around our family life. We could spend time with him when he was home, and then we could fit the work in the margins of our schedule. We loved the freedom to pass down our faith and our values to our kids. We learned quickly that school at home does not take as long as traditional school, so there was much time left over for us to go out and do some of the things we had always wanted to do. The kids had free time to play and imagine, create. They had time to pursue their interests. So at the beginning, the freedom was exhilarating. But as we kept going, I started to feel, like many parents feel, the pressure to get it right. I was intimidated by the system. I wanted to make sure our kids were on grade level and above. I worried about benchmarks and whether our kids were keeping up. And then came sports teams and multiple practices and the pressure to get your kids involved in one class after another. Music lessons, art classes, field trips, social groups, enrichment programs. They all sounded so good, and each one felt like something our kids should have, but slowly, almost without noticing it, it all adds up and it really encroached on our family life. In an effort to do it well, it's so easy to get caught up, and before you know it, you're just doing way too much. Getting out the door to park day, library story day, science class, co-op, errands. Suddenly, your homeschool doesn't feel like freedom anymore. You're rushing out the door. You're trying to squeeze lessons in between activities, and you're constantly thinking, we're behind. We need to catch up. Your kids are transitioning all day long. Finish this. Get your shoes on. Hurry, we're going to be late. It's so easy for this to happen, even when, like myself, you've been homeschooling for a while. The busyness slowly creeps in, and somewhere along the way, the family life you've imagined, the slow mornings, and the connection with your kids starts to slip away through your fingers. And before you even realize it, you're not spending as much time with your kids as you wanted to. You're not eating family meals together. Remember that no matter how great your homeschool looks academically, no matter how many music lessons and classes you're able to provide and field trips you take, the thing that will be their biggest takeaway when they leave your home will be the relationships you have with them and the atmosphere in your home. I can tell you as a mom that's been homeschooling for a while that this truthfully is a constant temptation for me to always revert back to doing more, reading this book, doing this special curriculum that my friend is doing because it looks really good, adding in this field trip. And it's a constant balance and juggle because all those things are good, but we don't want to miss the most important things in an effort to get to some of those good things. I've talked to so many moms who make decisions out of pressure. They have friends that have their kids involved in all kinds of enrichment activities. And they don't want their kids to miss out, of course, what mom does. But you have to remember that every choice you make is a decision of where your priority lies, and missing out on family life is an even greater loss. Another mistake many moms make, I see it all the time, and I did it myself, was to be so intimidated by the school system, by what other kids in school are doing, to worry if your kids are on grade level with everyone else their age. And so you push academics, you do every lesson, you completely finish the textbook, you don't adapt things to meet your child's individual needs. You feel the pressure to teach your kids concepts that, if you were really honest with yourself, they will never use again in their adult life. What if instead of starting with the traditional school model, with the only example most of us know, what if we started with our family life instead and built out from there? What kind of childhood do you actually want your kids to have? What skills do you want to pass down to them? When they leave your home, what do you want them to know? What do you want them to be capable of doing? What you're learning right now, what they're studying, is it preparing them for the adult life? What kind of relationship will you have with your child when they're ready to graduate? Instead of being able to list off all of your academic accomplishments and all the special classes you're able to provide for your kids, the sports, the different activities you're involved in, what if you measured it instead by the free afternoons your young kids have to go play under the tree in their imaginary world? How often your kids are curled up on the couch while you read aloud to them? Your unhurried mornings where no one's rushing out the door, long afternoons outside, building and exploring, or deep conversations at the table, siblings who actually play together and enjoy being together. This is a big one for me. I love that our kids are growing up together, and no family is perfect. We have all the same problems that every family has, but our kids are so close. And when I see them deeply engaged in a game of Monopoly or some game that they're playing out in the garage. I remember our kids used to play, they made up games. One of the games they made up was called Traffic, and they all put on either rollerblades or someone was riding a bike, and they would go round and round and they would try to catch each other. They played at this endlessly, and it's one of my fondest memories of some of our kids, our older ones, when they were younger. I remember one day when our kids got so into a game of Monopoly, they didn't want to stop, and I realized how much they were learning as they were playing that we tossed the lessons out for the day and I let them play Monopoly. We ended up after that watching a documentary on it about how the game was invented. The kids were all learning about how to count money and how to mortgage out their homes and how to invest in homes. And, I am all for being diligent and consistent, challenging our kids to be excellent, but we as parents have the freedom to decide when we can toss out the plans for the day and do what's actually best for our kids in that moment. And this is something we can only do because we are educating them at home. It's a freedom we have. Yet I see so many parents, and I'm talking to myself here, give up that freedom because of the pressure we feel to keep up with the school system, with that other homeschool family that looks so impressive. And we're missing out on the flexibility and the freedom that we have right in front of us. That freedom that was the whole reason we started homeschooling in the first place. I talk a little bit more about this in a video I did a couple weeks ago called Why I Choose a Simple Homeschool. I'll link it for you if you want to watch. but it basically explains why we have chosen to keep it simple. It's not a lifestyle that looks impressive. It's nothing to brag about to anyone else, but it's really exactly what we want for our kids. When you have more space in your day, it makes an atmosphere where questions are welcomed, where mistakes are safe, where we can learn from them, where kids can just have conversations throughout the day, where learning feels like a natural part of life. And that kind of environment doesn't come from the perfect curriculum, it comes from margin, from presence, from time together that's not constantly interrupted. Remember, you're not only managing a busy school day, this is the legacy that you're passing down to your kids. One way we've done this in our family is to limit the extracurricular activities that our kids can do. So we allow them to each pick one activity that they want to get involved in. And when they're younger, for a lot of them, it was music lessons. As they've gotten older, it's been more sports. And some of them have been on some sports teams that a couple of them can go together, and that's been really great. Right now, our kids are playing in a volleyball league. Our teenagers, all four of them go. It's one practice, one night a week, and then they have 2 tournaments per semester. It's been such a great fit. For many years, we had a piano teacher who was willing to come to our house, so that really cut down on the hustle of getting everyone in the car and taking people out on a school day. These are just some of the ways we've simplified so we can keep our family first. So instead of starting with curriculum or activities, start with your life. Ask questions like, how do we want our mornings to feel? How many days a week do we want to leave the house? How much space do we need so that we don't feel rushed? When do we connect best as a family? What traditions do we want to build? Maybe morning read alouds or Friday night movie nights, nature walks, hikes out in the woods. How can I have one-on-one time with each child? What matters most to us? In the end, what your kids will remember most isn't how many activities they did or what curriculum they used. It's what it was like growing up in your home. If this encouraged you, I hope you'll like and subscribe. I do one video a week on homeschooling encouragement for everyday moms. I'll see you next week.